Managing attendance is one of the hardest parts of being a manager, especially in a restaurant or retail environment. It's really easy to just blame your employees or their generation as being lazy, immature, or irresponsible. But the reality is, there are many things you can do as a leader to improve your employees' overall attendance rate over time. I'm Matt Roberts of Restaurant Ninjas, and I have 9 tips for you on how you can improve your overall employee attendance in your business. And it starts after this. Tip number 1, culture is king. This is the most important thing to help with attendance. If people want to come to work, they're going to come to work more often, and they're going to push through headaches or not feeling great mentally, whatever the reason may be. The work environment has to be in place that they want to come to. They need to come and enjoy the people they work with. They need to enjoy their leaders. They need to have fun with the customers. You need to find a way to make it fun, which isn't always easy. Best way that I have found to do that is to give your employees a mission. What is the mission in your restaurant? Is it to serve your guests with healthy food? Is it to serve your guests with food that's not great for you? Is it to give them food fast? What exactly is your mission? If you look at some of the big corporate restaurants, they all have a very important mission statement that explains to their employees what it is they do. Bottom line is, employees want a mission to work towards, and they want to know that what they're doing and the work they're doing is going towards that. They need to be challenged without being dumped on, and they need to work in a positive and happy environment. Encourage your team to spend time together outside of work. This has worked wonders for me. Once they all became buddies, nobody wanted to miss work. And when somebody needed a day off, they covered each other. It was a great situation to have because work becomes a can't miss time with your friends. That might sound scary to you, and if it does, change your thinking, because you can totally take that and push it to your advantage. Tip number 2, people get sick. Be realistic in your expectations. I expect everyone to get sick 1 or 2 times a year. That might take them 2 or 3 days to recover each time. So yeah, I've had employees who call out 5 or 6 times a year, and I consider that totally acceptable because people get sick. I've been saying this since before COVID. After COVID, now you should really get it. Here's the deal. If people are sick, you don't want them at work. If they're at work, they're going to spread it to your other employees, and then they're all going to be sick. In the long run, it's best for you to keep your sick employees at home. That said, you need to manage it. If they have a headache, if they have a migraine, if they have something that can be pushed through and isn't contagious, challenge them. If they have a sprained arm or something, challenge them. Tip number 3 is to look out for your employees' best interests. They're not going to take care of themselves sometimes, especially the younger ones. They're not going to think. They're not going to think about what's happening next weekend or 3 weeks from now. They're going to overwork themselves, and they're going to not really figure out how to prioritize. Here's how you can help. Don't let them overcommit. Don't let them work themselves into the ground. Make sure that school is being maintained. How do you do that? I ask my employees every single week, hey, how's school going? How are your grades? Everything all right? Does this sound crazy to you? If it does, rethink your thinking. Because by doing this, 1, I'm building relationships. 2, I'm making sure that they're not working so much that their parents are going to see bad grades one day and say, hey, I need you to quit your job immediately. No, you don't need to give notice. 3, I'm helping the world by making sure that we have more educated people. So yes, it is the best thing for both your business and them. I also keep an eye on sports season because there's nothing worse than the kid who comes up to you the day that football starts and say, oh, I forgot to tell you, bro, I got football practice now. Yeah, now I ask them when I interview them, hey, what sports do you play? I write it down. I put it in my calendar, and I know to say, hey, do you have your sports schedule when it's getting close to spring, fall, or summer sports? Tip number 4, have a detailed attendance policy. If you want to go with a point system, I warn you, be careful. I've used them. I don't hate them, but I don't like them because what ends up happening is people figure out ways to game the system. People say, oh, wow, I have points dropping off. I can call off now. In the end, I found that having a point system actually caused more call-offs than before. Instead, I'm more a fan of having a specific attendance system that doesn't involve points. Couple of tips for that. First off, don't define excused versus unexcused absences. All absences are unexcused. Instead, include things like your expectations in regards to how often they get sick and how they handle that. How do they call off? Where do they call off? Their responsibilities for checking the schedule is another huge one. I always tell people, hey, listen, I make mistakes. I might schedule you on a request off, or I might schedule you against your availability. Don't just not show up for work and say, I requested off. He should know better. No, just come to me and say, hey, Matt, you had said I could have off this day. And I will say, oh, I am sorry. Thank you for letting me know. I'll take care of that. That is no longer your responsibility. That's how it should work, guys. We need to be good leaders. That's how you be a good leader and a good steward to your employees. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this video, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that subscribe button so you can come back and get more videos from me. And if you really are enjoying it, hit the like button. It helps YouTube put this video in front of more people. Tip number 5, Track attendance issues carefully. Include dates, include reasons, and keep a very, very, very organized spreadsheet. Track your overall call-off rate. What is call-off rate? It's the number of shifts divided by the number of call-offs. So for example, if you have 20 shifts in a day and one person calls off, that's a 5% call-off rate. So what I like to do is I track it over the week. I say, okay, I had 130 shifts, I had 4 call-offs. I can't do that math, but it's somewhere around a 3% call-off rate. What's the benefit of this? Well, it allows you to see how putting these tips and these policies into place over time will actually make an impact. So you can see, oh wow, since I started following Matt's tips, my call-off rate went from 7% to 5.5%. That doesn't seem huge, but anything down is huge. It's as simple as that. If you're a multi-unit manager, I find a huge benefit in this because you have, let's say 7 restaurants with the same policies in regards to calling off. All right, well, if one of them has an extremely high call-off rate compared to the others, that could be a tell that there's some issues inside that restaurant. So tracking your call-off rate is a very, very good idea that I don't see almost any restaurants or other businesses do. Tip number 6, honor availability to the letter. If someone says they can't start till 11 a.m., do not schedule them at 10:45 a.m., period. No matter what. If you're short-staffed and you're just like, well, maybe they'll show up, don't do it because it causes frustration for them and it makes you look stupid. Have a signed availability sheet from each employee that they fill out with the exact times they can work each day and have them sign it and keep it in a binder with a master availability spreadsheet. Only let them change it for valid reasons. We've all had the employees who mess around with their availability every week to make it so that they can have the best schedule possible, especially servers. By doing this, you are going to limit how often people are changing their availability. So valid reasons. For high school kids, sports seasons, working too much, whatever. For adults, valid reasons. Maybe they have, maybe their spouse is working on a different day and their schedule changed, so they need to change theirs. Have one manager in charge of this. They are the one who validates all request off changes. If you make a mistake with a request off, fix it. Don't say, okay, well, I'm just gonna leave it like it is. Because here's what happens. Say you schedule someone against their availability. You're off that day. Now another manager's in and they're like, oh, Jimmy's not here. He's supposed to be here. It says it right here. They call Jimmy and Jimmy says, I told Matt that I couldn't come in, that this is against my availability. I could be there at 12, and he said it was fine. Well, your schedule says 10 and you're not here, so I'm gonna have to write you up. These are real things that happen, guys. So if someone says that they're scheduled against their availability, fix it right away and change it on the master schedule. If you're in a bind for availability and somebody cannot come in at a certain time, or you don't have enough employees, say it's a Saturday night, and I keep using prom as an example, so it's prom night, you don't have enough employees because your entire Saturday staff are high school kids, what do? Go to your normal weekday day shift staff and say, hey, guys, it's prom this weekend. I really need some help. Can you guys all work on Saturday? I'll make it fun. I'll buy some pizzas. That way all the kids can have off. You're going to be surprised. 9 times out of 10, they say yes to you if you make it fun. Tip number 7 is to honor all requests off. Listen, running your business is your life, not their life. You can't expect them to. Not giving them requests off is irresponsible, in my opinion. Simple as that. Telling them they can't do life events for their low-paying job, frankly, it's wrong. I'm sorry, I know that this is going to probably get some backlash, but that's just how it is. Figure it out. If you can't cover the shift with your other employees who are available, do what I said earlier and try to get people from a different shift. If that doesn't work, if you're in a chain, talk to a neighboring restaurant. If you're family owned, maybe you have some friends who can come in and do dishes for a night. Maybe you're going to have to. Maybe you're going to have to bring your husband or wife with you. Whatever you have to do to make it happen, make it happen. If you follow all the other tips, this isn't going to happen often. But especially if you staff and you staff smartly and keep a good mix of availability, you're going to be able to manage this. Now, there's going to be times that this is tough. That's where you got to suck it up. I'm sorry, but it's as simple as that. All of that said, manage people who take advantage of this. We've all had that person who requests off every single Saturday, every single week without plans. One way to get around this is when you take requests off, take a reason so you can judge how important it is. So that way, when little Max comes in and says, hey, I need off all the Saturdays in October, and I say, why? And he says, I'm not sure yet. I just want to do something with my friends. I'm going to say, sorry, bud, that's not fair. Here's what I can do. Would you like to change your availability to day shift or to night shift? That way you can make plans every day or every night on Saturdays. Now, if someone comes to me and says, hey, Matt, I need off all the Saturdays in October. I know it sounds crazy, but I have a wedding each weekend. Okay, well, that's going to be tough, but I'm going to make it happen for you. Hey, I know you don't usually work Sundays, but since I'm going to bend and get you off every Saturday in October, do you think if I need you on a couple of the Sundays, you can help me out? Yeah, sure, Matt, no problem. Sorry, I had to do an impression for you, but that's what I do. Tip number 8, encourage shift changing. This helps you so much. Just make sure you have a really good system so that people can't mess things up, and make sure you're staffed. Make it very simple, but don't let it impede the shift. So you can't have a cook pick up a shift for a server. It's got to be apples for apples. A manager verifies every shift change and initials and marks it on the master schedule. Once it's verified, the person who picked up the shift now owns it. They can't rescind their decision later. Once it's official, it's official. They own it, period. And tip number 9, my final tip, treat no-call, no-shows as a serious offense. Don't make this part of your attendance policy, make it part of your misconduct policy, and treat it very, very seriously. The reason I have this in this video is because no-call, no-shows make the shift stressful for everyone else, which brings down your culture and your overall enjoyment of the job, which makes overall attendance bad. So manage these and snuff these out as much as humanly possible. My question for you today is, do you have an attendance problem in your restaurant? If so, tell me about it in the comments and I'm going to try to help you further. Until next time, remember, it's a beautiful day to be alive. Later.